pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, again, just turn it directly over to you.
Well, thank you, Mr. Thornton. Scott, Rick, thank you for coming. Rosario, of course, our public tonight. So just a couple housekeeping items to explain and answer any questions from the board or anything that you might have. Of course, this is a public process, so the two interviews will be here in public. We are on Zoom, so there are folks watching if they've chosen to. Following the two interviews, the board will take a recess, step out into another room for an executive session, which will last no longer than 30 minutes. It doesn't have to go 30 minutes for discussion. And then upon the return, at that point, we would need a motion from a board member for appointment of one of our two candidates. And then we would need a public roll call vote to confirm that person. And then moving forward, while the board has appointed you, the chosen candidate will be taking the oath of office at right before our first public board meeting on January 10th. Okay. Board members, do you have any questions or anything? I've given both candidates the questions because I don't like to ever surprise people with anything hidden or anything.
No questions.
No? Okay. With that, to be honest, I was just going down alphabetically and realized I had to go into the name a little bit. So Scott, I'd invite you to come up and have a seat here. And if it's okay with the board, I'll just read the questions myself. That way you guys aren't trying to pay attention to, oh my gosh, is it my turn next? Is it who's got the next question type of thing? And then you can take notes, and please understand if you have any clarifying questions or anything that you'd like to ask, just raise your hand or do something so that I know that you have a clarifier, okay? Okay, so Scott is our first candidate. So Scott, so describe your experience, your training, your interests, and that can be in pretty much life in general. And then how can those experiences and trainings and everything contribute to the improvement of the district?
Okay, I've worked at Franklin County in the road department for 25 years now, and I'm now the supervisor of all Franklin County Road Department. I've got all kinds of training and in the management side of things, and I couldn't even tell you how many different classes and things that I've been to in the 25 years. But, how that will help me here in the district. I would just, try to fit in as best as I can and try to do what I feel is right for the kids. And that's my #1 priority, is try to make the district the best, the best as we can. And it takes all of us, it takes the whole community to try to do this. And I think with some of the things that have happened in the past few years, I think that's why I put my name in, to try to see if I can help out.
So kind of a follow-up. Scott, what do you hope to accomplish as a board member?
I can see some things that are coming down the pike, and I want to be involved with some things. I've been here my whole life. I grew up in Benton City, went to school here. Things come and go throughout the time, and I just, I don't have a specific set goal that I want to see, but I think in the next few years, we're going to have to be really looking at school size, and I think the elementary school is about wore out. So I'd like to be able to put my thoughts into that and see if we can help out.
So Scott, what do you see as the major strengths and shortcomings of the district?
I think major strengths, I see that the small community is, I think, a major strength. I think I know we're growing a little bit now, but I think it's just a small community, and I don't hear about some of the things like going on in the big schools. And I think that's a really big strength in our community. And some of the shortfalls, I'd like to see our athletic program better. Clear back from, I'd like to see them state championships and stuff like that. And I don't know, talking to a lot of the coaches and stuff I've been talking with, and just trying to figure out how to get the community to buy into, a good sports program.
Scott, what do you see as your role in the community once you've been selected? Do you see it changing? If so, how?
I would say it would probably change because I would become, I'm pretty well known in town anyhow, but I think there's a lot of new faces and stuff out there. Kind of hard to believe, but when I went to school here, I don't think there was a person in town I didn't know. They didn't know me. And it's changed for darn sure. I don't know hardly anybody in town anymore. So I think that would probably make a big difference.
Scott, do you have any commitments which might prevent you from attending regularly scheduled meetings, workshops, or reading study materials? And then are you available to participate for 4 days in Spokane or Seattle at the Washington State School Directors Association conference that happens every November?
I don't see anything that would cause me not to be able to go to the conference. Possibly I could get tied up at my previous job. If we end up working overtime or something, our schedule is, I would be home at 6 o'clock every night unless we have a major accident or something. I might get tied up that way.
Okay.
So other than that, I don't see a reason why I could see you.
Next question. How effectively do you think you can work with the superintendent and the other board members?
I think I could work very well with them. I know Teddy and I know Dale just a little bit, and I've had a conversation with you, and I think I could work along, I think I could work well with anybody. So, I'm good with working with other people. So.
Okay. You indicated on your application you have relatives in the district. So with that, spouses and relatives or relatives of current employees can accept a board position. What challenges do you think this, what challenge do you feel this presents, and how would you deal with those types of challenges?
I don't think there would be any challenges for any of my relatives or anything like that. don't think there'll be any conflict.
Scott, and of course, this is your opinion. What are the characteristics of a good board member?
I think a good board member needs to be able to communicate, give your feedback. If, you know, if you get voted out on something that, you know, 3 of the 5 reach out, and majority, then you need to be able to, you know, stand up and say, you know, that's what the board made the decision of, and that's the way it's gonna be. And communications, I think, is really important throughout the whole deal, through you and, you know, the other board members where you can. And yeah, I just think that's a really big, important thing with everybody.
And so you kind of hinted at this. If you do vote against an issue and the remainder of the board votes for an issue, how will you handle that situation, and will you publicly support the decision of the board?
I will publicly support the board. You know, like I said, if I'm the only one that don't vote for it and everybody else does, then that's the way it is, you know, and I don't have a problem with that, and I won't make a stink of it. It's, when it's a vote, that's a vote.
So next question, this can be addressed to anyone here, board members in general, or myself. Just what questions do you have, either about being a board member or just any of the previous questions, or anything that might come to mind?
I think there's, you know, I'm gonna need some, gonna have to learn, because I have never, you know, been in a position like this. And I don't know, I guess I would ask, you know, I don't know how much time it requires, and so I guess that would be one of the things is, you know, because I do work a 40-hour week job.
Mhm.
And, you know, and I think we all do. So like I say, you know, nightly meetings, I don't see an issue with that. Is there any emergency? I guess big thing to me would be, is there any emergency things where we have to show up type of deal, you know, through the school board? Because I don't know. It's my work. If there's an emergency, then I have to show up. Type of deal. So it's supposed to happen here at the school. I don't know if there's a community, you know, that we have to show up somewhere.
Would anybody like to address the time commitment issue that Scott brought up first? And then Josh, I know we're putting you at a disadvantage, so.
Defer.
To those who've been in.
Well, just on a weekly basis, you know, we'll receive our board packets and then have our meeting, I guess, twice a month, as I'm sure you're aware of. Occasionally, we'll have a workshop on a Saturday, or whenever the board's available. Sometimes we can schedule that, you know, later in the evenings if needed. But then also, you know, just to stay in touch and try to just be in touch with the schools and be available to the community if they have questions, and, you know, ready to answer your phone. I wouldn't say we get a ton of phone calls, but every once in a while, the community will want to chat with us. So
And when issues come up, you'll be confronted in the
Grocery
store. Hey, what about this? What about that?
Right.
I mean, that happens to me. So people want to know, or they want to put their 2 cents in.
Right.
Especially if they saw it on Facebook.
Yes, that's the gospel. I think I've found over the years that you can put in as much time as you, I mean, there's required time, obviously, with meetings and whatnot, but then it's really kind of up to you if you want to learn more, because there's a lot to learn. So, you know, you can put in as much time as you want, really and truly, outside of what is actually expected between meetings and those kinds of things. So, you know, it's kind of, a lot of it's up to you.
And there's a lot of resources available.
A lot,
Mhm.
yes.
A lot of reading and, you know, you can see other districts stuff and see what they do. And plus that was, you know, they give us, they feed you a lot of stuff. So, you know, it's just a matter of reading it, figuring it out.
And you know, you did bring up a good question, you know, what happens in the case of emergency or a situation like that? And I think, you know, most of the members of this board, except for Josh, were on the board when COVID hit and when it happened. You know, from purely a board standpoint, you know, they picked up the phone when I called, when I needed to inform them of decisions that were being made at state level, those types of things. But it wasn't really anything where there was ever a need to call an emergency board meeting or something like that. You know, if it's something that's happening in the operations of the district, I try not to bug them too much, but there are times when I simply have to call and let them know this is going to hit a newspaper. This is going to impact the building in about a week. It's nothing that they necessarily have to make a decision on, but I want to make sure and get them out ahead of it. So if they're in the shopping market or anything like that, that they know what's going on. So purely from that, is there ever a need to call an emergency meeting? Not that we've experienced yet, knock on wood. I think the closest thing would be if we had a major personnel issue come up where we had to act within let's say 24 hours. And we'd say, okay, tomorrow we need to have an emergency meeting. I can't think of a situation where it'd be get on the phone and get everybody here.
Okay.
So,
So what I was trying to refer to there was, you know, over in Franklin County, we got Hanford and we got the emergency management
Mhm.
type deal. And when they have they do tests over there all the time and they do trainings and everything. And as part of the road department, we have to show up and,
Mhm.
you know, they'll do a sample, you know, exposure out in the area, and then we have to go close the roads. And, you know, Connell School's got to
Mhm.
evacuate type of thing. So that's just, I didn't know if any of meetings were on the prevalent side. I mean, there was anything that you guys did at Benton County that, you know, one of you showed up to the emergency management area, you know, if there was evacuation of the school, then start, you know.
Well, and frankly, along those same lines, I think and again, putting different hats on as a board member, that would be something where I'd be on the phone or I'd ask Heidi to be on the phone and say, get a hold of the board members and let them know what's going on. But as far as, hey, Dale, I need you to quit what you're doing and report in here, no.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, you can even look in my office and I've got the phone call tree for every other district in the area and who reports, and in an emergency, these are the responding parties. From their standpoint, I'm sure they're kind of glad that they're not on that list. It would be get everybody informed as soon as we can and on a need to know basis. And then the emergency situation handles itself.
That's what we hired him for.
And then last thing, is there anything else that we didn't ask that you want us to know about yourself?
No, I just, you know, I just like to help out if I can, and I think Dale commented to me one time on Facebook, you know, there's an open position and I didn't put in for it, and then I seen that it was open and, you know, nobody had run, and I was like, you know what? I just think I need to, it's my time, and if, you know, if I can help out in any way, I'd like to do that.
Excellent.
That's all I have.
Thank you. Board members, anything?
Thanks for your time.
So,
Yeah, thank you, Scott.
All right.
thank you.
I'll give you a minute to finish writing anything down. If you're reading, it's tough to talk and write at the same time. Good. Rick. Thanks for taking time again.
Thank you.
So Rick, you had the questions, you heard Scott, so if you wouldn't mind starting, just please describe your experience, your personal trainings, your interests, and how can they contribute to the district?
Well, as far as experience on a board, I don't have any school board experience, but as far as I think my experience that I could probably bring to the school board is, my experience in the military. I was in the military for 10 years as an infantryman in the military police. And my experience in the military, we go to several leadership schools. Went to PLDC, Primary Leadership Development School, also BNOC, which are both of those are a couple months long. Teach us how to become a leader. And my experience in the military, being able to work with other people from different backgrounds. As you know, in the military, you have people from all walks of life. From all around the country. So, and just learning in the military how to work as a team member. I think that experience being in the military, just that experience in itself helped me a lot in dealing with a lot of issues, how to solve problems, conflict. And then, so my military background, also, when I left the military, I went to, got hired at Hyper Patrol. Currently, I'm out there as a special response team captain. Started out there 98. I had my own shift, 10-man shift, supervised them. And then currently I'm the headquarters captain, the lead captain. So just working with in that type of environment, dealing with a lot of conflict, bring that experience here. And other experiences, I would have to say, I moved to Bend City 9 years ago now, and while here in Bend City, I ran the AAU for 3 years. That's why when I was in Grandview, I ran the AAU there for 6 years. A little bit bigger school, it's nice to come here and, don't get you here with the gyms. But yeah, as far as experience, I think that's probably one of the biggest, things I could probably bring.
Rick, what do you hope to accomplish as a school board director?
Well, what I want to accomplish is just get more involvement in the community. I want to accomplish better communication with the community. I think that's one thing that I kind of see, from what I see from my perspective, is that a little bit lacking in the communication to the public, to the community, as far as issues that might be going on, and not just issues, but even achievements that maybe the schools have accomplished. So that's one of my biggest things, is just the communication.
That takes us right into the next question that you've touched on a little bit. What do you see as the major strengths and the shortcomings of the district?
Strength. I think some of the strengths I've seen is, I think there's a lot of good people in the district. You know, my sister works, she's a paraeducator, as you know, my wife works in the district office, but, and just being involved through AU, you know, I got to know all the parents in the community and some of the teachers. And I know there's a lot of good people out there. So I think that's one of the strengths, that there's people out there that are caring. And I think one of the weaknesses, I think, are lacking is just communication. You know.
So Rick, what do you see as your role in the community once you've been selected? Do you see it changing? And if so, how?
Well, I think my role, you know, as a, if I do go like it, is just being a good listener to the people in the community, not just the community, but the staff, you know. Being a good listener, trying to take what they're saying and understand what they're saying, and then, you know, and then putting out information to the community where they can understand it. Sometimes there's information out there that maybe isn't very clear, but they don't understand. I think that, in order for us to know whether they understand it, I guess we kind of get feedback from them. A lot of times, you know, I think stuff's put out and you don't get a clear understanding of what the issue is. And I think that comes in order for us to understand is we need to get some feedback from them. And I think that's somewhere where I want to kind of work on that issue as a school member.
Rick, do you have any commitments which might prevent you from attending regularly scheduled meetings, workshops, or reading study materials? And are you available to participate for 4 days in Spokane or Seattle at the Washington State School Directors Association Conference every November?
No, as far as work issues, right now, I'm a relief captain, so basically I'm a 410 guy and my hours are very flexible. So as far as time off, I can get most any time off I need. So my hours are very flexible. I won't have an issue.
Rick, how effectively do you think you can work with the superintendent and the board members?
I can work very effectively with them. I mean, like I said, my background, I work with all sorts of people from all walks of life. So I see no issue with that.
Okay, and as you referred to, and you did indicate on the application, you have relatives here at the school district. So of course, spouses / relatives of current employees can accept a board position. But what challenges do you feel this presents and how would you deal with those challenges?
Well, all the challenges I see that might come through that is, you know, because they are families, relatives, friends. I can see them bringing issues that they might have issues that they might not see have the whole picture on not all the information. So they're just making decisions based on what they know. And I think, and that's why I say communication is very important. That's an opportunity for I could give them the rest of the side of the, if I do have the information. But I don't see it as an issue with me. I just know that that's always something that's going to happen. It's something that I'll have to deal with. And now that get in the, make that a factor as far as when it comes to deciding issues. You know.
Okay, Rick, and this is your opinion. What are the characteristics of a good board member?
I think for me, there's 3 characteristics. The first one for me would be caring. I think you have to generally be caring about one, you know, your position, and about caring, of wanting to do a good job, caring about their students, their achievements, pushing them. But I think it starts with the caring attitude. If you don't care, then everything else kind of falls, right? And then the second for me would be listening, is just listening. A lot of times, we hear people talk, but we're not actually listening to them, and third would be communicating, those are the three things for me.
Okay. Rick, if you vote against an issue and the remainder of the board votes for an issue, how will you handle that situation? And will you publicly support the majority decision?
Yeah, I think that, obviously, when you come to a decision that you don't agree with the rest of the members, I'm pretty sure that there's been quite a bit of discussion going on. And obviously, your point of view is not one that the board is willing to go with. And as long as you have the opportunity to state your point of view, and if the board member doesn't decide to go that way, go the other way with it. I'll support it. They might not agree with it, but hey, we're as a board, as a team, you gotta stick together as a team and move on.
So now for any of the board members or myself, what questions do you have for any of the individual board members or as a whole?
I don't have any questions. I just want to thank everybody, board member, for giving me the opportunity here to interview for this position. And if I do get the position, I just want to let you know, I'll work hard at it. Try to do my best.
Okay. And you have a real good knack of going into the next question, Rick. Is there anything else that you want us to know about you?
The only thing I want you to know about me is that, I'm a true believer. My faith is very strong. I'm perfect. None of us are. I make mistakes, but I hold that dear to my heart. Truth, integrity, is one of my keys. So that's one thing I want you to know.
Excellent. Board members, any questions?
Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, Mr. Thornton, if I might be so bold, if I could ask you to go ahead and put the meeting to recess and we
Oh,
can
yeah.
move into executive session.
We will recess this meeting for an executive session with business to follow. No more than 30 minutes. Unless we notify, but
Correct.
should be. So this will gather in the
I'll go open it up while you guys are.
secret board meeting.
No, what? Thank you, David.
There it is.
We'll bring us back from
Okay,
recess.
well, we're back from executive session. We'll what is the right word?
Reconvene.
Reconvene the meeting of the school board and continue on to number 5.
Okay. On behalf of the board, I want to thank both of you. As I was telling the board, I had hoped to get one good candidate to make an application for the board. And we got 2 really good candidates. Regardless of whom the board chooses, I encourage both of you to become as involved as you can be or want to be with the schools. I want to encourage both of you to consider running for District 5 when it opens up during the next election, if you're so inclined. I'm speaking on behalf of the board, but also personally, I really do appreciate the fact that both of you were took such an intense interest in this, and really can't thank you enough for coming forward and putting your names out there. So with that, I would turn it over to Mr. Thornton and the board for a motion, if you have a.
The chair would entertain a motion.
I moved to appoint Enrique Gonzalez as our school director.
I'll second.
We'll need roll call.
Roll call vote. Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, it's unanimous. Thank you both. It was tough, like a tie. So it was kind of hard to knock down, drag out. But, once we decide, we make it unanimous so that we can all stick together. So anyway, okay, well, we'll adjourn this meeting, and then our next meeting is January 10th. So we'll swear in our new board member, and we'll be 5 again.
Okay.
So thank you very much. Appreciate it.